Hello, I'm Matt Donnelly, and this is your Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills Monday Night Football game preview. Hey, look, both these teams are heading in opposite directions after week number one. The Bills absolutely dominated the Los Angeles Rams there in Los Angeles. Home opener. Von Miller immediately making an impact for this Buffalo Bills team. Now, on the other hand, the Tennessee Titans, they went out and they lost to the New York Giants on a last-second field goal that went wide left. Now, let's talk about the quarterback position for both these teams, starting with the Tennessee Titans and Ryan Tannehill. Buffalo's defense, look, this unit is as good as it gets. Just ask Matthew Stafford how good this defense is. With Von Miller, this pass rush is downright frightening now. Now you have Boogie Basham there. You have AJ Espinosa. You got Gregory Rousseau there. These guys are all clicking now. Von Miller is basically the spoon that stirs this drink here in this Buffalo Bills pass rush. Everyone wants to get involved now. Tannehill, he's going to be facing an uphill battle all day long as he tries to get the ball to the likes of Kyle Phillips, Robert Woods, Treylon Burks. As this Bills secondary, it yielded the third fewest net yards per attempt. Even though Tannehill is coming off a respectable 266-yard outing with a respectable 106.4 passer rating, that was against the Giants. Again, the Giants, not the Bills. Even without Tre'Davious White, this Bills secondary, it picked off Matthew Stafford not once, not twice, but 3 times and held him to a sub-65 passer rating. That's right. Dane Jackson, Teron Johnson, these guys stepped up and were making plays all over the field. It also helps when you sack Matthew Stafford 7 times and pressured him on 15 occasions despite not blitzing 1 time. Expect much the same this week for the Bills as they attack Ryan Tannehill all day long. For Josh Allen, he literally tore through one of the more formidable defenses in the National Football League, a defense that features Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and he finished just shy of 300 yards passing. He was second in QBR and passer rating, even though he threw 2 interceptions in that contest. That's how good Josh Allen was. For the Titans, the loss of Harold Landry before the season kicked off, that hurts, especially when you face premier passers such as Josh Allen. So it's going to be on the shoulders of Jeffrey Simmons there. Bud Dupree, they're going to need to find a way to get after Josh Allen in this contest. Tennessee, they also need to do a much better job on third down against the Bills than how the Rams had fared. Allen and the Bills were 9 of 10 on third down. You can't allow Allen and these Bills any additional plays on offense. And for the Titans, they weren't good on third down against the Giants, so keep that in mind as well. So let's take a look at the running back position here. Derrick Henry. I've been concerned with Henry's bust potential all offseason. Coming back from that Liz Frank injury there, 5 screws in his foot, no A.J. Brown to keep defenses honest. Henry, he has always been one of the best backs at evading tackles. And last week, he was 39th in yards created per touch and 16th in yards created after contact. Henry is going to still get his volume. He's still going to get the ball 20, 25 times per contest, much like last week where he had 21 carries for 82 yards. But this Bills front is stout against the run and limited the Rams to 52 yards on 18 attempts. Cam Akers, he got nothing there. It was all Darrell Henderson. With the Bills' ability to get after the quarterback without blitzing, expect Derrick Henry to have to stay back in pass protection a little bit more often, especially if this game gets out of hand early. His counterpart here, the guy who made all the noise for the Titans there, was Dontrell Hilliard. Tennessee's second leading pass catcher against the Giants last week was Hilliard. Hilliard did very little in the run game, but he had 2 of his 3 receptions, ended up with him in the back of the end zone as he totaled 61 receiving yards. For the Bills, Devin Singletary, if there was any doubt prior to last week, there's no doubt anymore. This backfield, it still belongs to Devin Singletary, and that's not exactly a ringing endorsement, but it is what it is. Look, as the main man in this backfield, Singletary had just 8 carries, and he was targeted just twice on 18 routes. That's where we're at with this backfield. Saquon Barkley against his Titans rush defense had 164 yards of the Giants, 238 yards on the ground. So if the Bills decide that maybe we want to run the ball instead of pass it so much, I think they're going to be more than capable of doing so. Zach Moss, James Cook, if you are going to fumble on your first carry ever, you are going to get mossed, literally. Now, it's not Randy Moss, it's Zach Moss, which is something I think James Cook can overcome. Now, Cook, he has his work cut out for him. Let's be honest here. Zach Moss, he still ended up somehow, some way, the Bills gave him 12 touches, and he turned that into a whopping 26 yards against this Rams defense. So you have to think, without that James Cook fumble, Zach Moss probably wouldn't have factored in this contest at all. Hey, don't worry, kid. Kareem Hunt, he fumbled his first NFL carry, I think it was the Chiefs back in 2017, and he turned that into a pretty good season. So then again, he was also competing for touches with guys like Chandrick Wester and Spencer Ware. So it's apples and to oranges and somehow potato. That all factors in. Now let's talk about these wide receivers here with the Tennessee Titans. Robert Woods. Woods recorded 13 receiving yards on 2 targets against the Giants last week, and his assignment this week becomes even more challenging. With only a 6.5% target share despite a 72.7 route participation rate, I have to be concerned with Woods when what that role looks like this week is he's likely to draw Dane Jackson in coverage. Now, Kyle Phillips, if you said Kyle Phillips would lead this Titans team in targets with 9, receptions with 6, and yards with 66 in week 1, I would have called you a liar. But that is exactly where we're at. Over the last 2 seasons, we have come to know that Tannehill, he loves to target his slot receivers. Last week, it was no different. Phillips ran just 11 routes out of the slots while playing 40% of the snaps, and he was the most productive Titans receiver. This week, any receiver that's in the slot is going to have to deal with Teron Johnson, who just happens to be as good as it comes when it comes to slot corners. Now, Treylon Burks, another rookie here for the Tennessee Titans. Burks, he may be the difference maker for this Titans team in the passing attack, assuming that we get Jackson on Woods on the outside. Burks' targets per route run last week was the second highest among rookies, and his 38% trailed only teammate Kyle Phillips' 43%. Maybe more impressive is that Burks and Falcons rookie Drake London had over 30% of their team's air yards among this year's rookie class. Burks was targeted 5 times, hauling in 3 of those passes for 55 yards. So between Burks and Phillips, you had 2 of the top 5 rookie receivers in expected fantasy points last week. Now let's talk about some big dogs here in the receiving game, and that's those receivers in Buffalo, starting with Stefon Diggs. After 2 previous head-to-head matchups in which Ramsey got the better of Diggs, Diggs returned the favor tenfold last week, hauling in 8 passes for 122 yards and a touchdown. Diggs definitely let Ramsey know about it on more than one occasion there. If Ramsey couldn't contain Diggs, I find it very difficult to believe that Christian Fulton's going to be able to get the job done this week, especially after watching Sterling Shepard light him up and make him look silly on that 65-yard touchdown a week ago. If you didn't believe the hype surrounding Gabriel Davis last week, are you a believer now? Davis had a touchdown like right off the hop there and finished with 88 receiving yards on 4 receptions. Davis is going to be on the field, and when he's on the field, he's going to be running routes. When Josh Allen dropped back, Davis ran a route on 98% of the time. However, he only saw a 16.7% target share on those 31 attempts. That's the not so good news when it comes to Gabriel Davis. The good news, Davis accounted for 37.3% of the Bills' air yardage. While Fulton is dealing with Diggs, Roger McCreary will most likely be asked to defend Gabriel Davis. Again, that is going to be a mismatch that the Bills can exploit. And that's not the only one they can exploit. So now we got 2 advantages here for the Bills in the passing game. How about make it 3 with Isaiah McKenzie? Not that the Bills need any more advantages in areas that they can attack, but in 2021, Tennessee allowed the most receptions, 6.5 yards, 85.1, and fantasy points per game, 19 to slot receivers. That's more than any other team. Now, continuing to monitor how these snaps are divided up, McKenzie scored on 1 of his 2 receptions while running 21 routes, while Jamison Crowder produced 28 yards on 3 receptions while running 12 routes. Finally, the tight end position. It's not great, but we'll talk about it anyway. Austin Hooper. Buffalo always defends tight ends well. It's what they do. They were 2nd in receptions and 5th in receiving yards against last season. Last week, Tyler Higbee, 39 yards on 5 receptions. So Hooper is a hard pass for me this week for fantasy purposes. Now, the other tight end, Dawson Knox, he basically put pen to paper last week and then didn't really show up for the game. Then again, Buffalo really didn't need him. Despite having a good snap share and route participation numbers, Knox was essentially a decoy out there. The Titans, like the Bills, are another one of those teams that knows how to defend the tight end, so expect Knox to be quiet again this week. But what isn't quiet? FantasyPoints.com, because they are there to help you each and every week, and you can help yourself by using promo code 22Vipers10. That'll get you 10% off any of those subscription packages that tickle your fancy there. So make sure you do that if you want to score more, and we will see you next week.